Dialogue between Buddhism and Other Religions. Question 21 to 30.
Question 21. Did God create animals solely to serve humans?
If we keep a dog as a companion, we may notice that they are much like us. They have emotions, intelligence, survival instincts, and the ability to feel happiness and suffering, just as we do. It's just that they are in a lower position than us, so they are dominated by us and treated like slaves. Many animal rights organizations have advocated for elevating the value of animals because they recognize that animals can also feel pain and joy, just as humans do. Suppose we believe that animals are created to serve humans. In that case, we have overlooked a crucial detail. They also experience joy and suffering, which are intrinsic life values. If God created animals just to serve humans, He likely would not have allowed them to feel pleasure and pain like humans. Therefore, the idea that animals were created solely for human service is unreasonable. So, where do animals come from? Animals, in a sense, originate from humanity. Those who have lived cruel, self-centered lives without love or compassion for others may be demoted to a different form than humans, that of animals. This is universal justice.
Question 22. What is the process by which a person is reborn as an animal?
For a person to be reborn as an animal, the following factors are involved. This is a cruel person who has done many evil deeds, is selfish, greedy, stubborn, or insults those who are worthy of respect, as each religion has its own venerable figures. Near death, they displayed unusual signs, such as a disturbed and restless mind, a face that becomes ugly and darkened, and people gradually distancing themselves from them. Either the person suffers from a prolonged illness and then dies, or they die in a tragic accident. After death, their soul continues to suffer the pain of their illness or accident, with their face distorted in extreme ugliness, appearing frightening. Due to their cruelty during life, even their own family members neglect to offer them food in remembrance, leaving the soul tormented by a relentless sense of hunger. The soul wanders aimlessly, often bullied by older souls, forcing them to flee and hide continuously in various places. In extreme hunger, they may even eat animal excrement they have come across. The spirit longs to reincarnate as a human, but finds no willing family to accept them. Occasionally, the soul may attempt to enter a womb, but is soon aborted, until one day, driven by their karma, the soul sees an animal's womb with a newly formed embryo. In desperation, they enter the womb to have a place of refuge rather than continue to wander in hunger and misery. As such, their life as an animal begins. Upon entering the new womb, the soul forgets all past memories. However, in rare cases, some animals can retain memories of their previous lives, leaving them saddened, yet unable to express it. There is a story of a young man who left his hometown to study abroad, then worked and settled there. His father in his hometown fell ill and died while the son was away. This father was a womanizer and selfish when he was alive. Sometime later, the young man adopted a dog. In a dream, he saw that the dog was his father reincarnated, but his practical mindset made him dismiss it. Meanwhile, the dog seemed melancholic, sighing as if remembering something. When caring for the dog became difficult, the young man tried to give it away. However, the dog became aggressive unexplainably toward its new owners and eventually bit them, forcing them to return it. Only with the young man was the dog calm and obedient.
Question 23. If animals are a punishment under the law of karma for the wicked, does God do nothing to save them?
As we have said, God created everything and then allowed it to unfold independently, leaving each of us responsible. When we live with virtue, kindness, and compassion, God's truths will operate automatically according to divine justice. Those who have lived cruel, selfish lives and despised others will inevitably descend to a lower state for the sake of fairness. Meanwhile, those who respect others and value the dignity of others will be elevated to a higher level. God has sent many prophets to remind and guide humanity towards goodness. Yes, those who ignore these teachings, living only by their desires and causing harm or suffering to others, will face severe consequences according to the law of karma. We should not blame God for not being merciful because God embodies both boundless love and perfect justice so that everyone has the motivation to cultivate themselves.
Question 24. If we treat animals cruelly, are we guilty of the same sin as treating humans cruelly?
The feelings of joy and suffering we cause to living beings are the measure of our merit and sin. Regardless of species, if we bring joy to a being, we gain merit. If we cause suffering, we incur sin. The suffering felt by sentient beings includes two aspects: physical pain, including feelings of hunger, thirst, and so on, and mental suffering, such as feelings of shame. When we hurt someone, we cause them both kinds of suffering, physical pain and damage to their dignity. These combined sufferings contribute to the karmic debt we create for ourselves. Lower animals solely experience physical pain with little to no sense of humiliation, while for humans, self-esteem, dignity, and honor are significant. Therefore, causing suffering to a person incurs greater sin than it would with an animal. Furthermore, lower species' nervous systems are less sensitive to pain, so they experience less pain when slaughtered than higher-level creatures, with dignity no longer a consideration. Nonetheless, killing even the smallest creatures still incurs sin, as they still feel some pain, though less intense. More importantly, we are indebted to them, as we take their lives for our nourishment, and all debts must eventually be repaid in full.
Question 25. Why is it said that there are many hungry and suffering souls everywhere who can't find a stable place to reside after death?
According to folklore from regions all over the world, souls, spirits, and ghosts always linger around us. Some people can see and interact with them, but others cannot, which has given rise to eerie and fascinating ghost stories in many cultural traditions. Religions also speak of spirits living among us. They are invisible, yet still exist. Due to their invisible and mysterious nature, science and human law remain hesitant to acknowledge their existence officially. Even a whole group of shamans, exorcists, sorcerers, mediums, and fortune tellers make a living by engaging with the spiritual world. They claim to have the privilege of understanding this world, being able to interact with spirits, and helping protect humans from harmful influences. If one has not performed good deeds and cultivated morality during life, they may struggle to find a stable place to reside after death. Those who have committed many sins in life may become wandering spirits, tormented by severe feelings of hunger and thirst. Many of these spirits try to reach out to the living, hoping for food offerings, but cannot communicate directly. They attempt to signal their presence by making noises, rattling dishes, tugging at people's feet as they sleep, lifting curtains to stare at them, patting them on the back, or, out of frustration, influencing people's psychology, causing family members to become irritable and quarrelsome. However, the more they act this way, the more frightened the household members become. This fear may prompt them to hire a shaman to suppress the spirits, prolonging the resentment between the spirits and the household. In fact, we only need to offer food and recite prayers of repentance for the surrounding spirits to hear. Gradually, they will turn their minds towards cultivating morality and can find a more stable place to dwell.
Question 26. Does the concept of salvation in theology contradict the practice towards enlightenment in Buddhism?
If we wish to see them contradict each other, we can reason in a way that creates division. However, if we seek harmony, we can find many complementary aspects within these teachings. It all depends on our goodwill and intentions. If we want to emphasize the contrast, we might say that salvation, in theological terms, means placing faith in God's love and omnipotence, believing that God will protect, save, and bring humans back to Him. In contrast, enlightenment in Buddhism requires self-cultivation to achieve inner awakening rather than seeking aid externally. On the other hand, if we want both sides to complement each other, we might say that God's salvation chooses only those who are worthy, Worthy individuals are those who have attained an enlightened, selfless, and pure mind. Alternatively, individual enlightenment is not entirely separate from the support of the enlightened being. In the Lotus Sutra, Sutra of the Lotus Flower, practitioners are taught that they need the guidance and support of the Buddhas to achieve enlightenment. Universal Virtue Chapter.
Question 27. Will humanity welcome any more prophet in the future?
People tend to resist the arrival of new prophets or spiritual leaders, fearing it might dilute their current teachings. However, as the world constantly changes, human psychology is also influenced by scientific, technological, political, and philosophical advancements. Old languages, ancient scriptures, and antiquated examples may no longer effectively convey timeless truths. At such times, we need extraordinary spiritual teachers to renew teachings in ways that resonate with and inspire humanity through new, logical approaches. Over the years, we have occasionally witnessed the emergence of prominent spiritual teachers who used modern language to express fundamental truths, adding insights from their own experiences. These teachers attracted many followers, yet after their passing, their influence gradually fades, unlike the lasting influence of founders of major religions with deep-rooted traditions. Nevertheless, these spiritual teachers have contributed to awakening people to turn back toward spiritual practice, alleviating the growing pressures of a material and technology-driven world. We should remain open-hearted, as one day an exceptional prophet or spiritual teacher may emerge, helping unite religions and create a more peaceful and happy world.
Question 28. When facing extreme suffering and despair with no way out, is prayer the only source of comfort?
When we have no other options, we can respond in one of two ways: accept our situation with composure or pray for divine assistance. The ability to accept adversity, injustice, loss, and pain is a mark of those who have cultivated their inner strength. Such people possess a resilient will, a clear perspective on life, and a deep sense of tolerance and compassion. However, all religions encourage prayer in the face of insurmountable challenges, as it is believed that divine intervention can help alleviate human suffering. Buddhism profoundly believes in the law of karma, recognizing that adversity arises from evil actions in the past. Buddhism still has faith in and prays to Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, or Guanyin, who always listens to the cries of humans and offers relief. In this way, the intervention of divine beings introduces a flexible, compassionate dimension to the law of karma, making it less rigid. The law of karma is strict, but divine beings sometimes intervene, giving people a second chance to atone for their mistakes and overcome hardships. After overcoming these adversities, it is up to each person to live more virtuously, doing good and avoiding wrongdoing.
Question 29. Did God create the heavens, the earth, the universe, and humans?
According to the Bible, God created the heaven and the earth, humans later, in 6 days. However, the depiction of the heavens and earth as described in the Bible is much simpler than our current understanding of astronomy. It is because scientific knowledge was limited in ancient times. Today, theologians have expanded the interpretation of the Bible, stating that God created not only the heavens and earth visible to humans, but also the entire universe. Such updates and reforms in religious doctrines are common across all religions, aiming to align with the scientific knowledge of the times. Similarly, the idea that God created the heavens, earth, universe, and humans should also be interpreted in a way that accommodates future scientific advancements without needing further adjustments, ensuring its timeless validity. We can interpret the idea that God created the heavens, the earth, the universe, and humans in two ways, literally and figuratively, as follows. The literal interpretation. In the beginning, there was only God, and nothing else existed. Then God created boundless space and infinite time as the foundation for everything to come. Next, God created matter as the material to form stars, galaxies, and celestial bodies. Following that, God created metaphysical realms, such as heavens and hells. Subsequently, God created planets with life, including plants, animals, and ultimately, humans. After creating everything, God stepped back, allowing all creation to operate independently according to natural laws. That is the literal interpretation. The figurative interpretation. This interpretation is much more abstract and requires profound contemplation. Here, God represents the absolute pure mind, the ultimate truth of the universe, perfect justice, boundless love, and supreme wisdom. From these transcendent qualities, life emerges and everything comes into existence. Without these attributes, everything would perish. Creation, in this sense, does not refer to a beginning, but rather the conditions that enable all beings to exist and evolve endlessly. In this interpretation, God is considered an essential condition for all existence and ceaseless evolution. Our responsibility is to cultivate ourselves so that our inner being reflects these divine conditions, enabling all beings to find refuge and flourish. We may choose either of these interpretations of God's creation based on what resonates with our understanding.
Question 30. It is easier to understand God's creation in a literal sense. Is this because it makes God seem closer to humans?
This is precisely why literal interpretations of God's creation have often been more prevalent than figurative ones. When we are distressed, a God with human-like attributes feels more approachable, as if he is listening to our prayers, compared to a metaphorical, invisible, and intangible concept of God. Moreover, if we interpret God figuratively, it becomes challenging to explain the initial emergence of the universe. Humans often desire a beginning for everything, as this aligns with how they view the world on a limited scale. However, on a universal scale, everything is merely transitioning from one state to another, without a definitive beginning. Similarly, there is no ultimate end either. We should familiarize ourselves with the concept that at the cosmic level, everything exists inherently, without either a beginning or an end. While this concept can be shocking, it is the truth. By contemplating the infinity of the universe, we can grasp this profound truth, and this understanding elevates our perspective to a higher level. To sum up, we should consider the story of God's creation in the Bible as a parable with profound educational values hidden behind it, rather than interpreting it literally and becoming confused when it seems to conflict with contemporary scientific understanding.